Welcome to the show, Dr. Tiffany Moon. I'm so honored to have you on the show. And I was just teasing you before we started that your background is beautiful, not surprising. As for those of you that don't know, Dr. Moon is an Enneagram 3, which is the achiever. And that means that whatever she does, she's going to give it 120, 150%. And she's going to do it amazingly, even organizing the bookshelf in the back of her screen. It's probably the most beautiful background that I've ever seen. So I love that. But thank you for coming on today. I'm so excited to chat with you. You recently published a book, and I can't wait to get into it because it's on one of my favorite topics, which is joy, which I think so many of us are lacking. And I love, love, love that you wrote this book. So talk to me a little bit and talk to us a little bit about, how you view success, because you accomplished so much early in your life. Very accomplished, very well educated at a very young age, graduated top of your class in medical school at like 23 or something. I don't know, really young. And I know you and I have had heart-to-heart talks about your, early path to success and how you viewed success, and now how that's changed. And can you talk to us about a little bit about that?
Yes. I used to think that success was defined by how many degrees you had hanging on your wall, how many accolades, how many pages your CV was. Because growing up, I was really taught that my worth was the sum of my achievements. I was never praised for being creative or curious or funny. And so those were not characteristics that I thought were important. Everything was about academic achievement. How fast can you get there? How best can you be? If there was a 98 that was on a test, my father would say, "What question did you miss?" He would take a look at it and he would say, "How could you miss that? That's so stupid. Like, we practiced that 1,000 times." And then he would give me 5 extra pages of that kind of problem so that I didn't miss it in the future. That was the kind of environment that I grew up in. And not to place blame at all on my parents. I think a lot of immigrant parents or non-immigrant parents probably raised their kids in a similar fashion. But it really kind of messed me up in terms of how I viewed success as an adult. And somewhere in my mid 30s, I found myself feeling quite empty, um, quite unsure of what my place was in this world. And I don't know, like, where I was going, because I felt like I had checked off all the boxes on this checklist that had been presented to me, and I still wasn't fulfilled.
Mm, mm. Okay. So I love this because so many people would look at you on social media that just know you from social media, and they would be like, "Oh, she has everything and she has all the traditional success. Like, she's educated, she's wins at everything, that she's super, she has so much success. She's been on television. She has, a super amazingly successful book launch." But what you're saying is, like, despite that trajectory, at some point you were like, "This is not where I want to be. I don't want
Correct.
to, this is not giving me the fulfillment that I was taught it would give me."
Yes,
So,
exactly.
so what did you do in that moment? Because there's people listening that are like, "Wait, what? Like, this is how I feel." Like, what did you do in that moment to investigate that? Did it just, did you just kind of shift fields, or did you go, "Whoa, I need to do XYZ to investigate this"? Or like, how did you get out of that?
Yeah, it wasn't an overnight thing. I kind of had been feeling this sense of unsettledness, and I really wanted to find my joy, you know?
Mm.
And so I examined my life and I was like, what brings me joy? And then what do I spend the majority of my time actually doing? And the two did not match up. right? Like I wanted to spend more time with my family, travel, have deep, meaningful connections and conversations with people. But when you looked at my life, I was going to the hospital 5 to 6 days per week, taking trauma call, liver transplant call, all the things, running research trials. And there wasn't any space in my life to actually do anything else. And I was like, I think I'm going to have to cut back at work. And people think that that's such a normal response. But at the time, that was a really big decision because I basically thought in my head, and I had seen what had happened in my department previously, that once you go part-time, you're sort of relegated to this different academic track, whether, it's said or not. And you sort of aren't on the high achieving, committee leading, nationally recognized track anymore.
100%. And if
I
you're
had seen it
listening,
happen.
100%. If you're not in academics, it may sound weird, but what you're describing is very true. There's like one path for you in academics, right? You get promoted to assistant professor, you say yes to everything, and then maybe you publish a bunch, you do research trials, you stand on stages, you speak, you teach, maybe you get promoted to associate, but it's kind of like this cornucopia, like you don't reach it until you make professor, and then you're lucky if you make professor, and you do that at the cost of hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of your own time. And
Yes.
the saddest part to me in medicine, which you and I both agree is probably slightly a mess right now, is that you pretty much have two options that are presented to you in traditional medicine, which is you work full time until you burn out or you quit medicine.
Right.
And what you really opened up for yourself in the conversation is you chose something different, which is like, I'm going to cut back, but it doesn't mean that I'm not really a great physician who's very motivated, who doesn't still want to do some research or publish. Why can't there be more than either burn out or quit medicine? Can you talk a
Right.
little bit about that?
Yeah, I wanted to take a little bit time off. So I was full-time for 8 years and director of resident recruitment and taking all this call. So which I call like more than full-time. But when I cut back, I only cut back 1 day a week. It was like a Thursday, I think. So then I was FTE point 0.8. And it really opened up the world to me. I was like, oh my God, I can like drop my kids off in the morning because, as an anesthesiologist, we don't often get to see our children in the morning because I'm usually in the OR by 6:30, 6:45, and they wake up at like 7 and go to school at 8:30, so I don't even see them in the morning. So on Thursday morning, I would actually be the one to wake up with my kids, have breakfast with them, do drop off. I'd maybe go to the gym, like run some errands. I got to be like a normal person. I was like, oh my God, is this what freedom is like? So I did 0.8 for 1 year and then asked to go 0.6 the year after that, which is where I have remained until I am currently. And what that did was it really allowed me to sit and breathe for a hot minute because I went from like kindergarten to like associate professor. You know what I mean? Like there were no breaks. There were no summers off. Like in college, I was doing research or volunteering or waiting tables at night. Even up until third year of medical school, I was waiting tables on the weekends at night for spending money. So when I say like kindergarten to associate professor, like it was go, go, go. And I know and you went to full professor with tenure. And I was like, oh my God, I just want to sit for a moment and breathe. And that gave me the time to reflect and actually get the thoughts out of my head about this book that I had been wanting to write really for like 5 or 10 years. But it was one of those things that if I didn't create the space to let myself do that, like no one else was going to come in and be like, oh, you really want to write this book? Let me clear your schedule for you. Let me watch your kids for 4 hours on a Saturday so you can have some right. Like it wasn't going to happen until I decided to make it happen. And because I cut back at work, that was able to happen. And I was able to, grow my personal brand outside of traditional medicine.
I love this because you are giving all of us an example and a blueprint for what happens when we follow what we know we need to do for ourselves. It's not like you went and said, I'm going to go point 8 because I'm going to write a book. You went point 8 because you knew you needed to have space for yourself and have time for yourself and prioritize the things that brought you joy. And out of that, out of honoring yourself, showing up for yourself, giving yourself that time, came, I should write a book like about this very thing, right? So talk to us a little bit about the book, because I'm so excited to hear about it. If you haven't bought it, stop what you're doing right now, go wherever you are, download the book, buy the book, get your hands on the book. Tiffany's going to tell us a little bit about it.
Yes. So the book is called Joy Prescriptions. At the end of each chapter, there actually is a joy prescription that I wrote for the reader to live their lives more fully, authentically, and presently with joy. I tell people that it's a memoir with a self-help angle. And interestingly enough, the 2 categories that I hit on the USA Today bestseller list was self-help and biographies. So I was like, okay, they got it right.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really a story of my immigrating from China to the United States, growing up in a very strict, traditional Asian household where academic success was prioritized above all else. I saw my parents struggling a lot. It tells the story of how I went to school early, ended up graduating from Cornell at 19 and then medical school at 23, straight into residency. Then I did what I thought you were supposed to do, which is get married and have kids, except that I struggled with infertility. And so the book also talks a little bit about my struggles with infertility, which I think is somewhat more common in women physicians than the general population. And then, of course, this midlife crisis where I kind of didn't know who I was, what I wanted out of life, who am I, going through COVID, joining the Real Housewives, which people always have a lot of questions about, like how on earth did you end up on that show? You know, because you look at me, you talk to me, and if you didn't know, it doesn't seem like it's flowing along the whole trajectory of what I'm telling you so far, right? Like graduates from college at 19, goes on to become a Real Housewife of Dallas. I had a brief stint as a stand-up comedian. I started sharing my journey and showing up on social media. Little did I know that that was going to blow up and that I would have millions of followers and now basically supplement the income that I don't make from going to the hospital those extra 2 days with social media promotions, which allows me the flexibility to, do carpool pickup 2 days a week and travel. So it's really just, it's a story of my life, but really what I want readers to take away from it is that you can redesign your life any way you choose. Some people are like, oh, I'm in my 40s. I went to medical school, residency, fellowship. Like I have to keep doing what I'm doing because this is all I know. And I'm like, no, honey, like you can reinvent yourself at any age. Whatever you want to do, like you should go for it. Like life is too short to stay stuck in something that no longer gives you joy. And this isn't like some, thesis on how to leave medicine. Like that's not at all what this is. I still practice 3 days a week and run clinical trials. So it's not like I tapped out. But I just knew that there was more to my life than just practicing medicine, and taking a step back really allowed me to let all of that into my life.
And it's a good example of, sometimes we are doing something that we're good at. It doesn't mean that we should keep doing it at the level that we're doing it. And I think that's really hard also for those of us that are in areas, whether it's medicine or law or educate or whatever it is, even as an entrepreneur, where you have a lot of success, you find a lot of success in something, and all of a sudden you don't want to keep doing it. It's a weird conundrum because you're like, well, I'm good at this and everybody tells me I should keep doing it and I'm successful at it. So what's wrong with me that I'm finding joy in this other thing? And I love that you have given this example of it doesn't mean that you quit medicine. You didn't just say it's A or B. There is a in between, but it comes at a cost, right? It wasn't like someone you had a little fairy godmother who just went and talked to your boss and figured it out with your finances and brought in all these sponsorships. Like there was growth, I'm sure. There was struggle, I'm sure. There was hardship. There was probably isolation, loneliness. Can you talk a little bit about that side of things? Like, what were some of the hardest things that you've had to go through as you've made this transition? Because I get really annoyed on social media or on podcasts when I hear people are like, oh, you can lead this and come to this and have amazing success. And they don't talk about the like actual difficulties that it does to make it happen. So share with us, if you feel comfortable, just some of the hard things you had to learn or what you had to go through to get to this place now where you do have autonomy and you do have joy.
Yes, that's such a good question. Well, the thing that you have to really give up on when you start putting yourself out there, whether it's on social media or in the form of a leadership position, or you want to write a book about your life and story, you have to let go of other people's opinions. And I say this, and some days I still ruminate about other people's opinions. It's very hard. But when I started posting on social media, when I was on Bravo TV, oh, the opinions overflowed. Everyone seemed to have an opinion about everything that I was doing. I was told in no uncertain terms that going on Real Housewives would kill my academic anesthesia career, because no one would take me seriously, and I would probably never get another grant for clinical trials. I would probably not be promoted. Patients might not want me to take care of them. I mean, they just painted this picture. I was like, I am going on a TV show, not like doing something illegal or like trafficking children. Like, Jesus, it's not that bad. And the funny thing is, the people who had the worst things to say, I'd be like, did you watch the show? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, so you're commenting about something you just heard that the show is not good.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm like,
Right.
I can't listen to this anymore. But it was really hard. I mean, I was called into my chair's office on more than one occasion to discuss things that they painted as quote unquote unprofessional. And I mean, I could go off here, but I think a lot of times, particularly in academic institutions that are a little bit more old fashioned, shall we say, whenever they don't like something that you're doing, particularly if you are a woman, they label it as unprofessional. And I'm like, show me what that, it's kind of a vague term, right? And it's your interpretation. I mean, that's really your opinion that something is unprofessional, right? It's very hard to like definitively say. I mean, yes, if you're like doing drugs on camera, yeah, like that's unprofessional. But is wearing a bikini unprofessional? Is cursing unprofessional, right? Like it's a fine line, and there's a lot of subjectiveness to it. But yeah, there was a period of time where I was getting called into the principal's office at least quarterly, because I just would not back down. And I was like, I am going to be myself. And myself sometimes wears bikinis and cusses and has alcohol and dances on TikTok. Like, that is myself. And I'm doing it on time that is not at the hospital. Like, it's on evenings and weekends when my time is my own time. And the funny thing I always used to wonder was like, why are you watching? Like, if you hate it so much, and if I'm so unprofessional, then like, why are you watching? It's so
I
odd
know.
to me.
Isn't it weird though, how people that are I don't know what you want to call them, haters or trolls or whatever, they are so like they just follow on, and you're like personally, me, if I'm following someone on social media and maybe they're just overly political, I'm just like someone who like, I can't get into that. I just unfollow them, or I just like unsubscribe. Like, it doesn't mean I don't like the person. Even some people who I think are awesome, it's my own insecurity that triggers me. Like, oh my gosh, this person, like, she's like a size 0 and she has like an 8-pack, and I will never have that. And because of my own insecurities, I'm just going to unfollow this person because as I'm eating bread, like whatever. Like, I just unfollow. But isn't it crazy how it's there are some mean troll people out there who are like obsessed with following you, and you're like, just stop following me.
Right. Yeah.
Right? Like,
Like,
just stop consuming me. Like, if I'm not for you, just ignore me, block me, unsubscribe, unfollow. I don't get that
yes.
mentality. I don't understand it.
I
But
call it the love to hate phenomenon,
yeah,
where it gives them something to, I don't know, look forward to. I mean, for a while, I had someone who was like watching all my stories. I guess she's kind of dumb, a co-faculty. She would watch all my stories, and like almost always within the first hour, she must have had like a notifications on for me or something. And you can see who watches your stories. And so I always could see that she was viewing my Instagram stories, but never, liked or commented on a post or whatever. And then of course she was, one of the haters that was like sending stuff to the chair or vice chair to
right.
try to get me in trouble. It's just, it's crazy. But I guess the point for your listeners is that anytime you decide that you're going to put yourself out there in whatever capacity, like be prepared for haters. And that's okay, like not everyone has to agree with you. Not everyone thinks you are a great leader. Not everyone
Yeah.
likes your fashion sense. Like that's okay. But I think go ahead and set that expectation so that when it happens, you're not like, oh my God, they don't like me,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, and I think also like it's very normal for us, we're humans, to want to be liked and to
of
want to
course.
please people, and for what we put out there to, like for someone to be encouraged by it or laugh at it or think it's funny, whatever the purpose is of whatever we're posting.
Yeah.
And like it's normal for us to we are humans on the end, on the other end. And I just find it really remarkable that some of the strongest critics I've ever had never post anything, never have put themselves out there. I'm like,
Right.
it's not the people putting themselves out there that are criticizing me. It's because they
Correct.
know like it takes courage. It takes courage to make a video. It takes courage
Yep.
to post a picture. It's the people that are not doing what I'm doing that are actually probably the most critical. And I have a sliver of the following you have. So I can't imagine how much that has to take a toll on you at times. Like, cause you're a human at the end of the day, you're a mom, you're a wife, you're a human, right? And just who's
Yeah.
trying to do something. And it takes a lot of, I think you have to have a very strong, like, ability to filter and mental capacity to take it. And it's also okay sometimes to just take breaks and be like, I just can't even process all this, whatever's coming at me today. Like, I got to just put a stop to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Um,
a lot. I didn't used to have help, but now I have a social media manager, and I have given her free reign to block and delete people if she sees anything mean in the DMs or
yeah.
comments. So I
Yeah.
don't even see it now. I have a buffer.
That's
But back,
smart.
yes, but back when I used to do everything myself, I there would be upsetting comments. But after a few months, years, it's like anything else. You grow a thick skin and get on with life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you talk to women that are listening that are on this achievement hamster wheel where they, are subscribed to the model that's been put before us? Like, you do this, then you do that, and you just keep going. And even if you don't find joy in it, you say yes and just go. What is one joy prescription that they can start practicing today?
Oh gosh, I would say to seek your own joy and fill your own cup. Because as working women, often moms, often physicians, we are givers. We are giving all day long. And I don't want you to be like the giving tree with its poor branches and no leaves left, just like a shriveled skeleton of your former self, because that's what it feels like when you constantly give and give and give and don't pour back into yourself. And for whatever it's worth, like this hamster wheel that you describe where we're doing everything for everyone else, people pleasing, I think society sort of ingrains that in us, because then it keeps us down, it keeps us quiet, it keeps us busy, and we sort of like don't make a fuss. We're like a quiet, obedient woman who like does what she's quote unquote supposed to do, and it kind of benefits society, right? Like it keeps
Mm-hmm.
the machine going. But when we, pour into ourselves and we're like, you know what? I'm not doing that. Like, I've set a boundary. Like, you cannot speak to me that way. No, I will not stay past 6 p.m. routinely because, you're poor planning. And we start to set and enforce boundaries. People are like, oh, whoa, like, who does she think she is? Um, so the best advice I would have is to pour into yourself and set healthy boundaries. I mean, I have your book back here, Sash. You were one of the first people, I think, in 2020 when you sent me your book about boundaries that I was like, I think she's onto something. And now, 5 years later, boundaries is like a key word, right?
Yeah,
Like
it is.
when
It's a hot
when I
topic.
give talks, yes, it's like burnout, boundaries, and balance, right? Like
Yeah.
that's for sure the name of someone's keynote that I just came up with. Um,
Who needs
um,
Chat GPT when you have Tiffany Moon?
oh my God, ChatGPT. Don't even get me started on ChatGPT. But yes, like setting and enforcing healthy boundaries is literally like life changing. I mean, it's a work in progress. It's not like I'm an expert at it. But over the last 5 years that I've started to enforce boundaries, it is so different the way I approach life. Like, I'm not constantly anxious and scared of
Mhm.
what's going to happen because I'm just like, if this happens, then I'm out.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that like you also are growing and setting them and they evolve and they change. And haven't you noticed that like the more you set boundaries, it's the people who have like major reaction to your boundaries that you're like, oh dear God, I should have done that 5 years ago. Like,
Yes, because
you know
they
what I
were the
mean?
ones who were benefiting from your
Benefiting
lack of boundaries. Like my
100%.
family members, for
Yeah.
example. I mean, I haven't spoken to my father since we went to Napa in January.
Really?
Really?
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
I'm
So
proud of you for
that
setting the
that was a
boundaries that you
boundary
need.
that was set. I
Yeah.
said, if you don't have anything nice to say or only need to ask me for something, don't call me.
Mm.
And he
How
hasn't.
well, I mean, I'm proud of you. I think that's so hard. And you and I have had talks about this. Like, the hardest people to set boundaries with are the people closest to us.
Yes.
And people don't understand that because I mean, like some of the hardest conversations I've ever had to find the most courage to say what I truly feel and mean are with my husband, who's like my best friend and is supposed to love me the most in the world. And yet I'm afraid to express like cuz I love him so much and I care about him and I'm so like I don't ever want to lose our relationship that I'm like I shouldn't say this. I shouldn't tell him. Like what's he going to think of me? What's going to happen? And it's true. It's like, but people don't realize that. Like telling your boss or your work colleague and setting a boundary, those people think that's like the hardest thing. Those are the easiest boundaries to set once you start flexing the boundary muscle. It's the people in your life that are closest to you. Those are hard boundaries. It's really hard. It's hard to tell our kids, right? No. It's hard to set boundaries with our parents. It's hard to set boundaries with our family members, our spouse. Like those are the hard boundaries where you really got to muster the courage to be vulnerable and also be strong and not give that in. Wouldn't you agree with that?
Yes. I mean, of course, because the less you have to lose, I think the easier the boundary is to set.
Mm-hmm.
And with your
Mm-hmm.
loved ones closest, there's a lot to lose. So,
Yes,
yeah.
yes, you are so right. Okay, so tell us where we can find the book, where can we get the book, give us all the goods, and to follow you and find out more about all the wonderful things you're doing.
The book is Joy Prescriptions. You can buy it anywhere books are sold. I think it's on sale right now on Amazon. I also narrated the audiobook of it. So if you can stand the sound of my voice over the span of 6.5 hours or shorter, if you put me on like 1.2 to 1.5x, which is the speed at which I listen to podcasts and audiobooks, I will read the book to you. And it's also available as an ebook. And you can follow me on all the social media platforms at Tiffany Moon MD.
And then tell us about your summit that I'm going to try. It's on my calendar. I'm trying to
Oh,
get
yes.
there this November. Tell us about the
Yes.
Leader Summit. I've heard wonderful things about it. I personally have not gone, but I'm going to try to get there.
Yes. So Lead Her Summit is going to be in Dallas from November 7th through 9th. It's like a Friday afternoon, all day Saturday with a gala and Sunday until noon. That way you don't have to take up too much time from work. And it's intended for all female professionals, not just physicians. And this year we're talking about personal branding and living a wealthy life, not just with money, but with connection and laughter and joy. So we have really amazing speakers, and just it's like a glamorous, fun, networking kind of conference. So yeah, I would love for you to come, Sash, if you're
I know. I really
free
want
that
to be
weekend.
there. I really, really want to be there. I have it marked down. So I've put a no call request in for that weekend. So we'll see.
I know, our no call request.
You know how it is. You know what that
we're
means,
trying
girl.
to go on a family vacation and book tickets, and I'm like, my PTO hasn't been approved, so I don't want to book
it's so
tickets
stressful.
just in case
People,
it's
normal,
non-refundable.
I know, non-physician people don't get that. They're like, what? What are you talking
And also,
about?
this is for March 2026. Like,
Oh yeah.
yeah,
Oh,
but we have this vacation lottery thing, and like it's a
yes,
highly
I
sought
get
after
it.
week because it's spring break and it's all. And I'm trying to explain to my normal friends, another family who is not physicians, and they're like, "Did you buy your plane tickets yet?" And I'm like, "I'm not really sure if I can get off that Tuesday. We might have to go on Wednesday." Like people are just like, they're like, "I don't understand." So
I know.
yeah.
I love all my friends who lunch, and they're like, can you do lunch next? And I'm like, okay.
Do your friends still ask you to do lunch? Because no one even asks me anymore. Like they already know
Well,
the
I
answer.
have some like new friends that are in this like business arm of my life, and they're like always lunching, and they're like, come to lunch. And I'm like, I love, love, love that they invite me still, but I've
Yes.
been able to go to zero because I'm like, do you understand that I eat lunch like in probably 5 to 7 minutes? Like that's my lunch. Like
Yes.
I'm like
My
doing
lunch-
this like salad or whatever, like
Yes.
in between seeing this patient, putting in the art line, like this is my day. But they don't understand. They're like, what? You don't have a lunch hour? I'm like,
Yeah.
no, I don't have a lunch.
No.
They're like, don't you have
My
a lunch
lunch-
hour? I'm like, no, doctors
I
do
have a
not have
lunch,
lunch hours.
like 20 minutes when we went on pump, and now
Yeah.
I can my lunch frequently comes in the form of some bar. I have tried every kind of protein bar that Whole Foods and Central Market have. If you need a protein bar recommendation or drink, like everything I eat at work is like in the form of a bar, and it's just in the locker room.
That is good. That is actually, I mean, you look amazing. So whatever
Well,
bar
Allie
you're munching
has
on.
me on some fitness program where I'm supposed to eat 100 grams of protein a day. So I take 30 grams in my scoop of coffee in the morning, and then the bar
Yeah.
that I eat at lunch has another 30 grams, and then I have some chicken or fish at dinner, and that's the 100. I mean, it's so much protein.
It's hard.
You know?
It's hard
Yeah,
to
yeah,
get
yeah.
100. It's hard. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for coming on. This was
It was so good
wonderful.
talking to you.
Thank you. Okay. If you listened, I hope that you got all the goods from that. There were so many good pearls that she shared with us. Real life struggles, redefining success, how to have joy, how to choose our joy, how to get off the hamster wheel. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and thank you for listening. And as always, live brave.